And also be sure to give the runners a follow. They're doing that. They're doing a great job, and they're learning along with us and developing the meta.
Yeah. But to anybody who wasn't here for the first race, this is Metroid Fusion Randomizer race. This was going to be the second race of a best 2 out of 3 between MetroidMst and FlipSide208. For those unfamiliar with Randomizer, we take missile upgrades, we take the morph ball ability, we take all of that kind of stuff. All of them, and shuffle them around all over the place. There are certain limitations in how it places things to ensure that the game should still be capable of being completed without the use in this tournament, without using any glitches, not without using any out of bounds or any of that stuff. And certain tricks will also not be used in the settings we have going for this tournament.
Yeah, so while the players are allowed to use whatever means necessary besides like memory abuse and whatnot, like no arbitrary code execution kind of things, they will be free to do what they want. It's just that they will not necessarily be required to do advanced, like terrible tricks. Although there are a few tricks that may be required. We are running on level 2 difficulty logic. So things like shine sparking into to access the sectors without morph ball can and often is required.
Yep. And as Adam says during the intro, which our runners went past quickly because we gotta go fast. We need plasma beam, charging, and missiles in order to defeat the SAX and the Omega Metroid at the end of the game. But that's not all we need. We also need the items necessary to reach and open the level 4 security locks, which are the red colored doors. Which that in itself requires multiple items, including the likes of Gravity Suit as one of the most prominent ones due to being underwater.
Also to note about the randomizer, although the intent is that you should not be be able to roll incompletable seeds. That's not 100% ironed out quite yet. However, these matches in the tournament have been vetted by other players, looking at logs of the outputs, and it is confirmed that these tournament matches will have a way to complete them.
Yeah. As you know, I see in chat, there's no way that they will be able to soft lock if they follow the item progression. But if they go out of logic at any point to try and check an area early and they get stuck, that would cause them to have to reset to wherever their last save was.
There are also what's known as point of no return checks that players may have to go somewhere that would be a soft lock in order to find an item that will unsoft lock them.
Yeah. MST gained speed booster first, right? We are seeing some technical issues, it looks like. But we have a morph ball for MST.
Yeah. Morph ball for both of them. Morph ball and speed booster is a nice combination.
MST is going back for this one check, while FlipSide is going towards Sector 2, which turns out could be a very good idea since MST found a energy tank for their troubles. FlipSide piercing through the Kago with Speed Booster to find their own energy tank. Now they will be making their way to open up the level 1 locks. It's always a very common and very good, usually, move to go to Sector 2 first and open up the blue doors. Because that opens up potential access to Sectors 3 and 4 once you have the necessary items to go in them. And it is possible to get those very same necessary items with the data room that is opened up in Sector 2 from using the blue hatch. And our data room today has Varia suit, the one thing neither runner found in the previous deed. But Varia suit that definitely opens up some options and makes certain rooms safe to enter. So, most likely, Sector 3 will be the destination for both of our runners next. And that is where FlipSide is currently gone off to. And they are taking a safety save. After their misfortune in the previous race, they're being more cautious this time around. Whereas MST is continuing without taking a save there. But here we find Charge Beam. That is one of the items that they need to challenge the SAX and Omega Metroid at the end. It also gives them access to Sector 1, because the Charge Beam can also destroy stabilizers. Both runners gaining through the heated room. And here's the ice beam we mentioned that can make it hard to see what beams they have at a glance. Well, some of the beams. Luckily, thanks to the Varia suit, they do not have to worry about taking damage while climbing back through the room.
Yeah, we might get a different sprite for the ice beam alone in the future, but as of now, it's currently indistinguishable from ice plasma. This does have implications logically as well. Just the ability to freeze enemies in general is pretty helpful in terms of getting around the sectors.
Yeah, it looks like FlipSide is going to be going back up in order to check the item in the Morph Ball tunnel. on the main deck to find it is an energy tank. MST making your way into Sector 1. They bonked against the door, so they will have to use the charge beam rather than speed booster to take down the stabilizer. And they find the missiles. What the location? And those are a very useful thing to have. Unfortunately, technical issues on FlipSides and like hard to tell exactly where they are. But I think it's safe to say they are going to Sector 1 with the charge beam. MSC dipping into the lava to find a missile tank. Just falling on every space pirate on the way down.
Yeah, turns out falling is basically the same as shine sparking downwards, except without the shine spark, so you can't just plow through them. You will accelerate, you will fall faster than your own missiles. Well, I mean, technically, missiles do move faster, but they take a while to accelerate.
Yeah, they have an acceleration period before they really start going. So, unless you shoot well in advance, you can easily just fall onto the target first. And this race is... technical issues are unfortunate. We can confirm, as I pretty much already knew, that we have missiles over on FlipSide's end. MSCs. Well, time to switch audio again. I do apologize for technical issues going on to those who aren't viewing.
Personally, I blame society.
MST getting the spark above the charge core X to find an energy tank, opting not to grab it, focus on defeating the core X. And getting an energy tank anyways after just passing up on one. Upside not far behind. Dealing with the Zora, missing the first attempt at a double there. And not getting the second one either.
They're really hard to do. That's probably the hardest IDOR to get double missiles on.
Yeah, there's such limited room. FlipSide getting into the room with the Shine Spark live. Seeing Energy Tank, also deciding not to grab it. And trying to maneuver the Core X into a favorable position. and they successfully get it pretty much right where it goes to. So they grab the Corex as soon as possible. FlipSide dealing with the last stabilizer that is required. While there is one more stabilizer, there's currently no benefit to clearing out all of them. There are no changes to the game state.
Yeah, we're gonna blow them all up anyway.
And yeah, both runners have passed up at least one E-tank each at this point. Multiple, actually. MST making their way up towards Arachnus because of the missiles. This is likely to be where they have to go after picking up the missiles. Especially with 5 possible items to pick up. The enemy spawning to immediately get shot in the face. And we got bomb data. So with bomb data, that does open up the green security room.
So fun fact, with Charge Beam, you can destroy these eye doors in one shot. However, with Charged Ice Beam, because it has fewer projectiles, it actually takes 2 shots.
Now we have a space jump. And a power bomb tank. Not the most useful thing to find. They considered leaving, but decided that as long as they're here, they will fight Arachnus, it looks like. Because they could lift Morph Ball. That is the only thing in the base game that keeps you in here, is just not having it. I see FlipSide got bomb data. And super missiles from Arachnus is definitely worth the time. Because if there's anything else they have to fight, that just speeds that up a lot. Because getting super missiles is basically tripling damage from the base missile. No.
That's right. The box fight is going to be doable now that they have super missiles. With regular missiles, it is still possible to defeat box, but you would need 30 of them. They could also opt to defeat it with charge beam. It's just much slower that way. So they did already have that option. It's just a bad one.
Yeah, but That is most likely where both runners are going to go next is Sector 3. Because they have all the tools to get a decent amount of checks from it. Like, there's a couple they'll miss out on, but... It's like MST is taking their tools through the heated room to check the item over there. Which could work out. It'll just be hard to tell if it does or not. FlipSide making their way down. It's making their way straight to the security door. FlipSide making our way towards the lower Sector 3.
They do have an option now to check the 2 lower items, or 3 lower items down here. There's this one and 2 more behind it, but it seems to be a pretty uncommon play.
Oh, looks like MSC got level 2 locks during the downtime. Who needs to do an ice puzzle when you can just space jump over them all?
Yeah. I find it interesting that MST actually went up and checked Bob before doing this.
FlipSide getting the Bob energy tank. Making their way towards box. Now, MST also making their way over towards box. FlipSide gained some more missiles for safety. Doesn't hurt to have a few spare lying around.
Sure, yeah. Now with 20, they will have plenty to spare on the box fight in case their aim isn't quite so true. Making pretty good work of the box fight here.
Very
missing
clean
2
fight.
shots.
Overall, very clean fight. That was a lingering firewall getting hidden and revenge. That looks like an energy tank. Yep, box is an energy tank. MSC killing box, but really far to the left, so they have to wait for box to make it all the way over. FlipSide getting hit by the enemy that I forget the name of, but it loves stopping Speed Booster. FlipSide making their way out.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised we haven't seen too much divergence yet. It's been a very close race so far.
Yeah, a lot of the same decisions coming out of our runners so far. FlipSide going into Sector 2 now. MST might be going that way. No, we have a diversion right after you said that.
And here we go. Yeah, the beginning of the sector, or the beginning of the seeds, often bottleneck players into just wanting to do the same plays. But yeah, now that level 2 doors are open, we're finally seeing that divergence we were hoping for.
So FlipSide in Sector 2, MST in Sector 4. We're gonna see if either of them gets a big payoff for their decision.
And MST opting not to go for Ceres. By the looks of it, they're just gonna check these two items. The item is pretty out of the way, and then the pump controls and just be on their way out.
Yeah, making their way towards the out of the way item right now.
I see a lot of people opting to skip Ceres. I kind of wonder why that is. Like, Ceres is a pretty rare case for having progression, but it's not like... oh, here we go. Ice missiles.
But MST does get something out of this.
It just feels like Ceres is just kind of on the way to these checks. So for this seed, this is absolutely the right play to do these instead of just looking at them from the other side of the wall. But yeah, it's just interesting how the meta has been early on. It's kind of like how players basically know that whenever you start with Morph Ball as the first item, you know it's going to be a spicy seed. And I don't know if there's any particular reason for that. That just seems to be the case.
MST lowering the water level. Well, FlipSide is going into the Zabi. MST managed to jump over the power bomb tank, does not pick it up. Unfortunately, the Zabi is a very slow fight. And it isn't helped by the fact that when the Zabi opens up a weak point, it can be very random sometimes. Oh, a major for MST. Diffusion, ice and diffusion, both in Sector 4.
And white beam over on Zazabi, that's that is something that's gonna, if they ever find Wave Beam, that's not gonna be a downgrade anymore. So that's a nice find. It's just a really long fight to get it.
Yeah. There's a couple more checks FlipSide could go for on the way back up. Like think of oh, they're not cocooned, so they could technically check that room, but opting not to, since anything being in that room is really rare.
Interesting. Yeah, and on top of that, I believe in order to hatch that cocoon, you would need plasma, is it?
Plasma and I think space jump.
Space jump, okay. Wasn't sure if it was space jump or Varia. I don't know why Varia though, but so that's it's a pretty smart play to skip that because they're pretty much. I mean, they are looking for gravity suit, but they also really want to find plasma, and it's just not going to be in there.
And it looks like they're gonna be on their way out of Sector 2 now. While MST is in Sector 6 looking for items. Another item? Power bomb.
Oh no.
And gravity suit.
Oh wow.
Both runners finding something very useful.
One of them being considerably more appealing than the other. So with power bombs, MST now has the power to backtrack to other areas and get a bunch of checks that they couldn't before.
Yep, is both a blessing and a curse.
It could be required. It's possible. But
possible, but we'll see. FlipSide on their way to Sector 5.
This is not a very pleasant fight with just charged ice. I now realize.
Yep. Gain multiple hits in a row though. That would work in their favor, while FlipSide is checking the top Sector 5.
Ooh. Oh, there it is.
That is a very good find for them. I'm sure they're happy with that one.
I believe that's Go mode, isn't it?
They have charge, they have missiles, they have plasma.
They have gravity, speed.
So they have
space jump.
They have everything they need. They are in Go mode. Unless we're both forgetting something.
That's the second or third time plasma has been there.
I mentioned in the previous race that routing can be, like, their decisions on routing can be all the difference. Finding all this stuff based on where FlipSide was checking compared to MST, really shows that, I think, that there is some luck involved in randomizer races, because you don't know where anything is. So you might get lucky or one of your decisions ends up being the correct one.
So with the wide beam, FlipSide isn't even going to have to worry about what if I accidentally find wave beam. It's just a non-issue now. Whereas MetroidMst isn't going to be finding wide beam and already has wave beam. It's a rough one, that's for sure.
MST making their way out of Sector 6. The question is, where are they planning to go next? They're going into Sector 2, so they're going to be finding some of the items that FlipSide already found, but unfortunately for them, they will be behind. Especially with Plasma being in Sector 5. Unfortunately, not quite able to see when FlipSide gets the red doors, which they probably have them by now, but due to technical issues, we can't confirm it on the tracker. MST making their way through the left side of Sector 2. The direction most people seem to generally go when they plan to loop around the whole of Sector 2. Oh, a major item. Picking up high jump.
Wow. That's a really nice find. Well, MST might go fight Zazady for wide beam here. We'll see how it pans out.
Trying to grab the missile tank. Let's see. FlipSide does not have a very good situation here.
Actually, I don't even know. Is it possible to freeze these things with the ice beam? Oh,
Ice
now
beam.
I know.
Yeah, but I didn't expect them to get that fast. But yeah, it is possible from just the right angle. You are able to get a ice beam. It's just a lot trickier than using the more conventional methods.
Is it the same property where you can bend the shot forward?
I believe so.
Okay.
MST checking this room, seeing missiles, and more missiles. sounds about right for this room, honestly. FlipSide on their way up.
Dang, so MST did skip out on Zazabi and is not going to be getting the wide beam, which means it's going to save them a lot of time. But...
a lot of time now. Maybe depends how the fight goes later. But either way, it's gonna take a lot of disaster on FlipSide's end. I think they have more energy than last race, so they'll have a safer fight ahead of them. MC going back for the missiles. I think they're starting to think they might have to fight more bosses. Are they going towards Notori? MST is going to fight Notori. And unfortunately, they're gonna be probably disappointed because it's not likely to know what could have that could help them along. I guess screw attack.
They do have more damage output with those super ice diffusion missiles, but it's gonna take quite a few charge ice wave shots.
Yeah, it's still... Notori still has a lot of health, while FlipSide is on the ice core right now. Just got stuck facing diagonally so they can just kind of pick it apart as they please. Propulsion system activated. No. I go to switch the audio over and the stream froze temporarily on FlipSide's side. Aren't I lucky? MST fighting the Plasma Core X. Defeating it to find a power bomb tank. Probably the worst reward they could have had for that time input.
Yeah.
That is very unfortunate for them. FlipSide on their way to go fight Omega. Hello, Omega. How are you doing today? I think he's hungry. Now, MST looking to make their way towards the reactor. The Omega down in a very clean fight. They had to step back to avoid getting hit a couple times, but overall a clean execution, and that is time for FlipSide.
We're gonna see if they're gonna want to break after 2 consecutive seeds. This is a lot to. That's a lot. They may want to get up and stretch, and we'll see what they say about that.
Alright. I leave it to you. Looks like MST's heard the news, so they will be standing there as a space pirate futilely tries to shoot them over and over. He's very close to hitting, but the ledge is just a little bit too high.
Yeah, this is an intense fight. He's dodging every single shot.
He's dodging. Doesn't even look like doesn't even look like they're moving. It's amazing.
This is impeccable spacing on MST's side. Really mastering the art of the footsies. It looks like they may actually reschedule for another day. Yeah, we got a tiebreaker on the way. Eventually, we're just gonna find out when that'll be. So, anyways, thanks everyone for watching. We'll see if FlipSide might want to pop into for interview. Maybe I don't think MSG will be.
Yeah, if either of them wants to, just talk a bit about their runs, they're welcome to come in.
Cool. We'll get FlipSide in here momentarily.
All right.
And MST has declined the interview. And welcome, FlipSide. GG's.
Oh,
That was an exciting set.
yeah, it was. I'm really bummed about my death in the first race.
Yeah, so were we.
That was unfortunate, especially since no safety save was taken beforehand.
Yeah, I flew too close to the sun. I had been doing seeds all day, and I had done that trick a handful of times, no problem, with suit. So I was like, okay, I can just get back. This will be no problem. I hit the jackpot finding missiles here.
And then one mistake. Sometimes how it goes. Like once you feel too confident in things, that's when things always end up going wrong somehow.
Oh, for sure.
Did that death have any impact on how you routed during after restarting?
It affected how many times I saved.
Okay, fair enough.
And it did affect me at the very end there, when I was fighting Sax and whatnot. Just like, it kind of knocked the wind out of my sails at the end.
That's unfortunate.
All the thoughts of what if I hadn't died.
But yeah, the way you routed that was really smooth. Actually, MST didn't even find the screw attack, so had a much longer trip through Sector 4.
Yeah, I was really, I was really concerned. I was gonna have to do something crazy to get out of Sector 4. I was. And now I felt like I had a pretty good read on both of those seeds, but
Yeah, solid.
Yeah, especially in the second one, you made some very good routing decisions that ended up paying off a lot.
Yeah, we saw you kind of double take on, or take a look at that Ripper Tower in Sector 2 and just decide against it.
yeah.
Was that just
one?
not having Plasma Beam and just knowing it wasn't in logic?
No, what made me contemplate actually going and doing that was with the Ripper Tower was the last practice seed I did had Gravity Suit there.
Oh.
And I was a little scared. I was a little scared that I was
That could
going to
happen
find
again.
Gravity in there. But I'm glad I decided against it.
Yeah, you want to know what was in there?
Missiles or power bombs, that seemed to be the common item this seed.
2 missiles, because MST did take a peek in there.
Uh,
So it was definitely the right decision to go elsewhere. Although it's also not too big of a time sink.
no, but without high jump, I was kind of concerned about getting through it though,
Yeah.
and wasting a bunch of time. So it's
Yeah, although MST also found ice diffusion missiles on elsewhere in the seeds,
damn.
in the last seed.
Were they in Sector 4 or 6?
4.
4. That was where I was headed before I found Gravity Suit.
Mm-hmm.
Once I found Gravity Suit, I just had to go. I had to go to Sector 5 and just get it over with.
Yeah, unfortunately, they also found Wave Beam and they skipped Zaza Beast, so they didn't find the Wide Beam to supplement it.
Yeah,
And
Wide Beam really was probably the turning point for me that truly allowed me to get to lower Sector 4 and not soft lock there tragically.
so I'm guessing that was just a sigh of relief finding that the really worthwhile item come from putting in the effort with Zazabi this time.
I hate fighting the bosses. But something told me to fight Zazabi. And
Yeah, it was right there. And that definitely helped out. I'm sure that helps out a little bit with a shot from the Sector 4 data room. That looks like a pretty tight shot. I know this is a tight shot with missiles. I haven't tried it with beam myself.
I think it's a bit easier with Wide Beam Ice. But that said, I haven't put a whole lot of practice into doing it with ice missiles, so.
Yeah,
I would have done it, but wouldn't have liked it.
How did you overall feel about the 2 seeds and where the items were?
I really liked that. I really liked that first seed. I thought that. But that said, I think the second seed might have been the better seed, not just because that was the seed I won, but I think but I think the routing decisions you could make with seed 2 definitely could have been very, very interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
another big difference is that MST actually found power bombs in sector. Was it sector 3 or 4? So that opened up a lot of options for them.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't find power bombs.
Mhm.
Yeah, it can be a blessing or a curse.
It really opens what you have to look at, and it gets my mind going in check everything mode, and I'm less likely to take risks when I get power bombs or things like screw attack and whatnot.
Yeah, so you'll be moving on to a tiebreaker round whenever you get around to scheduling it. Best of luck for that. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I can't do any worse than I did in that first seed, so I'm feeling pretty confident.
Well, I'm sure if you really try, you could. No pressure.
no pressure or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited for it.
I'm
Best of luck. Get some rest, and we will be happy to see you then.
Aye.
Do you have any closing words you want to say?
No, I think I've said my piece.
All right. Well, thanks for coming and talk about how the seeds wins.
Aye.
Cool. And huge thanks to our tournament organizers and all the SpeedGaming staff behind the scenes, making everything work swimmingly. Thanks, Luna Lika, for joining me on commentary, as well as tracking.
Yeah. And thanks to everybody who stopped by and watched and supported.
Heck yeah, we will see y'all next mission.